Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing tips for Tuesday, the 5th of November. Well, first of all, it's election day on Friday, on the 5th of November in the US. I'll get straight to the point. It's a selection, not an election. So I'm actually going to go for Kamala Harris. You can't put any serious money on this. It's just basically I put £4 on. I'm pretty sure it's 15 to 8. No matter who gets elected, nobody will really see any benefit whatsoever. They're all a bunch of criminals. With I think basically what it is, to get into power like that, or even in this country, normally the people actually running the show have got some dirt on these people. And what really happens is they get put into power and they do exactly as they're told, no matter how much Trump spouts off, he'll do this, he'll do that. And I'm sure he speaks a lot of common sense to the person on the street. We know what he's like, but ultimately he's controlled. And the same goes with Kamala Harris. So for entertainment purposes only, I shall be having £4 on Kamala Harris. And whatever happens, come the end of the 5th of November, when it probably still won't be decided, I believe the show starts. That's when the curtains really pulled back. And I don't want to call it fun because it isn't going to be fun. It's going to be a farce. And you are going to see, in my opinion, a lot of things kick off. And I think it might even come across to this country. I do believe you may see the reason why all those people have been flooding the border, and this video is going to get flagged now for saying flooding the border. I think you're eventually going to see why all those people came over the border. One of them is to maybe vote. I know they're not supposed to vote, but there's already rumours of people being able to vote. Will that be the reason why the election maybe gets nulled? I'm not saying it will get nulled, but I believe something huge is going to happen. Donald Trump is already claiming that it's rigged, and Kamala Harris has already said that the Democrats won't hand over or concede or something like that. So it's going to be entertainment after November the 5th. So it's complete and utter nonsense. So let me get into the horse racing. So hopefully this is a little bit better than nonsense. So as you are aware, it's the most wonderful time of the year. That's right, folks. It's Redcar races. And I think there'll be a draw bias. However, I don't know what happened last time, but we got a nice little bet up. However, they didn't stick to where they was putting the rails. They started out by having the rails on the stand side, which, as you look down the course, stood on the finish line, looking to the start line. On the left hand side is the stand side. I think they ran the first race on there, and then it switched at some point to the far side rail. The reason I can tell you that is because I could tell, and this isn't the round course I'm talking about, because that's classed as the inner. They switched to the far side without even saying anything. And I've looked even through the races, and it was still classed in the racing post as stand side, even though it was a far side rail. So it kind of made a mockery of me going for the low numbers because they just ran down the middle of the course. And actually shied away from the far side. So what I'm going for is it's soft ground, and I don't know how it's soft ground because I've been looking and I've not seen a lot of rainfall at Redcar, but it's soft ground. So what I've gone for is I'm really struggling for one selection. So I've gone for multiples, and I know people aren't going to like this, but do what you believe is right. So I've got one bet slightly. You can see the each way trebles. So the first bet is right. I've gone for big prices, which I think have got a bit of a sniff each way. The problem is I can't narrow it down to one. Not in any race I can't. So what I've done is I've had 10 pence each way doubles and 5 pence each way trebles. And that particular bet comes to £4.40. So please be aware you must get at least 2 placed in total in different races for a return. So let me talk you through it. So in the first race, in the 12.15 at Redcar, I've gone for Yorkshire Myth at 33 to 1 and El Pinto at 16s. El Pinto is not far behind some of the more fancied horses on form. I just think it's from an unfashionable trainer, Christopher Kellett. I can't remember who rides it. I think it's David Allen. And then Yorkshire Myth, it got lost basically last time, and then it ran on at the finish. I think if these two, they're drawn pretty low. I think it's 1 and 4. Yorkshire Myth should not be 33 to 1. I believe tomorrow you might see 16 or 20s on Yorkshire Myth, and probably El Pinto will probably stay about the same. I don't know. But I think both have got better chances than the prices, but it still doesn't mean they'll come place, but I hope they do. Well, I hope they win. So the next race is a 12.50, and I've actually gone for 3 selections in this race. So so I think the Easterbees could have a fantastic day tomorrow. Problem is, though, they've got so many runners, you can't really cover all of them. So in the 12.50 at Redcar, bearing in mind they're only currently paying first 3 in these first 2 races. If you put the bet on after 9 o'clock and you're in the Sky Bet Club, you'll get best odds guaranteed. Well, I need to put the bet on now. So hopefully I've got best odds anyway by taking the prices now. So in the 12.50 at Redcar, it's Elizabeth's Legacy, Black Sky, and Hawkeye the New. Well, Hawkeye the New has got a chance on form, in my opinion. It's Billy Loughnane, Charlie Johnson, and I believe if this horse goes to the front, it could be quite difficult to peg back. However, there are two big-priced Mick and David Easterby runners, and I think they've both got sneaks. These are... I think it's both. It's their 4th run, and it's a 2-year-old nursery. So I think both these horses, it doesn't matter what they've done before, because if they've done nothing, they've got an handicap mark that reflects that. So I think they are interesting selections. 40 to 1 is too big a price. Well, twice is too big a price. And finally, in this bet is, I can't ignore it again, and I shall tell you both of them. Well, explain both of them. So the next race is the 2 o'clock at Redcar, and the selections are Poet's Dawn at 14 to 1, which is wrong, and Loyal Touch at 10 to 1, which I think is wrong as well. So originally I was going to go for a pace bias. So I do believe that the favourite will make the run in, and I think Poet's Dawn will sit on its shoulder throughout. I do believe that they won't set a frenetic pace, and I believe they'll quicken, and I think for any horse that wants to pass them, it will have to come wide. If it comes wide, it's going to have to go on the slower ground. I think the favourite and Poet's Dawn, although I haven't backed this, could be a reverse forecast bet. I think it's called something like liberalism or something like that, which is quite topical to say it's the election, or liberalist, something like that. And Poet's Dawn. Poet's Dawn should not be 14 to 1. Don't get me wrong, I don't think its best form is over 1 mile 2, but I tell you what, it could turn into a kind of mile race if they set steady fractions. And Poet's Dawn ran an absolute cracker behind, I think it's called Thunder Roar last time, which was a handicap snip. It was odds on in the handicap and won well, but this horse was the only one that actually threatened it that day. Loyal Touch, it's a funny horse this is, because this is the one that's got to come from behind. So Loyal Touch, it actually won at Chester for us when I tipped it there, and it was dreadful ground, and I expected it to be prominent or even lead. Well, it didn't. It was last, and it was bumped along. And then all of a sudden, the ones in front came to an absolute standstill. And I think it was Joe Fanning that day. It could hardly hold on to it that day. And then it won relatively comfortable. You could see it going well at the back. Well, Loyal Touch, I don't know which Loyal Touch could turn up. But if it's that one from Chester on heavy ground, well, I think it's got a chance of at least sneaking a place. So I've actually narrowed it down to 1 bet in each race. So this is what I've gone for. Doesn't mean I'm overly confident. All I did, I wanted to try and narrow it down so I've got 1 selection in each race. So I won't elaborate too much about these horses. So it's a 5 pence each way, lucky 63, which comes to £6.30. So we've spent £10.70. So the first selection, which has been backed already in the previous bet, is Yorkshire Myth at 33 to 1 in the 12.15 at Redcar. Joanna Mason on board, low number. Hopefully, Joanna Mason goes straight to that far side rail and takes advantage of the draw. And hopefully, the horse improves on its previous run. The next selection is Elizabeth's Legacy at 40-1 in the 12.50 at Redcar. Let's not forget that the Easterby's like the big prices, so wouldn't surprise me if these two improved. The third selection is Poet's Dawn, what surprise, at 14-1 in the 2 o'clock at Redcar. Bearing in mind, all these three you can get best odds guaranteed after 9 o'clock, but then again, they might half in price before that time anyway. The fourth selection is Blue Jay Way at 11-1 in the 2.34 at Redcar, paying 4 places instead of 3. Well, I can't remember too much about this, so have a look for yourself. I know it's that John M. Riches. It ran okay last time. I think it'll run prominently, and once again, I think, yeah, it's 5 furlongs. I think it'll go straight to the far side and hopefully take advantage of the draw. I'm just saying the same thing all the time, aren't I? The next selection is Keep Warm at 12-1 in the 9 minutes past 3 race. This is a Mick and David Easterby horse again. They could actually bring the house down with some of these prices. So it's Keep Warm at 12-1. I just think it's got a chance. I would love to elaborate more, but just double check. Yeah, it's on the straight course again. I believe, once again, it will go to the far side and it will have every chance. And finally, probably, and this is a really tricky race. I mean, a really tricky race. But this is, for me, this is the obvious form angle. Alfie Boy at 11-2. I'm probably being ripped off with the price in the 3.44 at Redcar. So this horse, it won on its first or second outing. It was either the beginning of this year or last year. I think it was rated 64 that day and won well. And that day, the horse actually went over to the far side and used the draw bias. I think it's drawn something like 4 or 6, but if it races prominently, the thing about the draw bias is, in my opinion, you need to race prominently to make advantage of the draw because, as well aware, sometimes high numbers can also win. But in my opinion, it's harder to win from high numbers, but if you kick them out there and get them to the front, they've got half a chance. It's just how much petrol you use to do it. But so this is drawn either 4 or 6. I think it's got a decent chance, and it's handicapped to run well. So yeah, so that's everything. So I wish you the very best of luck. Let me know in the comments just how bonkers my bet may be, or tell me what you fancy. So I wish you the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.